Hi everyone, my name is Catherine and I'm the human behind Creation Miss Couture. So today in this episode of In the Dye Pan, we are going to be trying a new technique that I've seen online, and we shall see if it if it works for me. Um, so what I wanted to do with this with this technique is create in like a watercolor effect and still keep some sharp speckles onto the yarn. So we shall see if we can accomplish that. So the first thing that we'll be doing is putting the pan on the burner, and we will be adding some acid to the pan, so that way it will be able to start absorb the color a little bit faster, since there will be already some acid in the water. And then after adding this acid, we will be adding, I've added 5 cups of tap water to my pan, so that way it will dilute a little bit, it will absorb into the skein of yarn, and I will be placing the skeins into the dye pan. The reason why I only add 5 cups of tap water is simply because we will be adding more liquid into it, and I don't want to have too much water in the first place. It's preferable to do that way. But this is the way I do it. And you can see I've added my skeins with some twist into the skeins of yarn, so it will create some resist, so that way we can create some variation within the color. So this is one way that we can do it, or we could have just placed them like that, but I wanted to see what the twist would bring to the color. So we will be adding the speckles. In this case, I'm using very, very tiny measuring teaspoons. And I think they're 1/18 of a teaspoon. So I'm adding my darker color, and then I'll be creating this fade within the colors. I'm sorry, my camera has a hard time to focus on the skeins. There we go. So I've added some Tornado Gray from Dharma, because I know that this one will give some blue tone. It is. So it is a gray, but there's a lot of blue tones into the gray. And then I've added Sea Foam from Dharma as well. No, not Sea Foam, it's Sea Spray from Dharma Acid Dye. So because there's a light greenish into it, and I've added some champagne, and I can't remember which color is that one. My apologies. And the last one is saffron spice for the beautiful orange that it will give. It will add some warmth to the color. And my hope with this is that it's going to create a beautiful watercolor effect while still keeping some of the speckles, but we shall see if we can do this. So I'm bringing my pan to my sink, and I will be adding the water directly onto the skeins with the shower mode of my water. And this is where it's already starting to not work according to plan, because it's spreading the dye much more than what I was wanting to do. And at this point, I'm just going with it, and it will be what it is. It's still going to be pretty though. I've turned on the heat on my burners, and now since it's already spread out the dye, I'm just massaging it so the color can get into the color skeins. Um, it's going to be pretty, and we will be able to see soon what the resist created. Yeah, it's already pretty much absorbed, so might as well flip it and add some dye. So as you can see, the water is clear, so it means that the dye has been absorbed by the skeins. And we can see that there is some white inside the color. Okay, so you can see that the saffron spice did leave some trace of orange into the dye pan, which is fine. I already knew that this is a color that takes time to absorb, that it needs longer period of time to vet completely. So what I'm doing is I'm untwisting all my skeins to see the white spots and where we need to add some dye. So I will be repeating the same colors that I've used earlier. I'll start with the bottom of my pan with the tornado gray and the sea foam, sea spray, and I'll go into all my other colors to create this beautiful fade, well, gradient color. So I am using the same 1/18 of a teaspoon to grab the dyes. And here I am making sure to massage the dye into the skeins so that way the color can spread nicely into the yarn and make sure that we don't miss any spot. And honestly, at this point, with the color pastel that we have in the color inspiration, it wouldn't be too bad to have those very soft and subtle color spots of pastels because it goes with the vibe of the color inspiration. And you can see that like most of the dye has already been absorbed into the yarn. That's because we already have acid and we already have heat into this yarn. So you can see here that we have some very light patches, which is perfectly fine. You can see here that I'm also once again, I am flipping my skeins because I've noticed lots of white patches, and as much as I want to have some of the pastel color, I don't want to have complete white. So I will be moving my skeins to add a little bit more of the colors that I feel are missing. And once that's been added, I will just leave the skeins in the dye pan on low heat for roughly half an hour. And after that, I will let it cool down so that way I can make sure that it's like, that it's actually absorbed all the water, all the dye in it. So here actually what I've done is that I had some leave no dye behind of black and I added that to the light patch to create this soft gray in those light patches, which I think is really nice. And since there was not that much color in the stock solution because it was the leftover from my gloved hands, it's creating some very soft gray into the skin, which I think is nice. All right, so as you can see, It didn't go exactly the way I wanted to go, but we still created a very lovely color with this. And it kind of did the watercolor effect, but not exactly the way I was expecting it to do. And we were able to keep some very subtle speckles here and there, but not as sharp as I was hoping it would create them. But I really like what it did. And probably what I would do different next time is like soak this skein of yarn into an acid water bath. So I basically would just like create a like use tap water and add a lot of hi Zoe, a lot of acid into it, so that way it's it would help to keep the speckles sharper. That's for sure. So we learn every day. So that was fun, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. And I will see you in the next one very soon. Thanks for watching.